Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be doing an unboxing and review video for the 1/6 scale Ellie, the Last Survivor figure by CCToys. That's right, this completes the set of unlicensed figures based on The Last of Us Part 2, because who is Joel without Ellie? Ellie's journey in The Last of Us Part 2 was quite the deep dive into the human spirit. It's an exploration on how anger and sadness can feed into an unending cycle of violence, and vice versa, how one kind act begets another. CCToys released this figure in 2021, just weeks after Joel's. By the way, if you haven't seen Joel's review, please check it out with the link in the description. It's a fun one. Plus, some of the accessories are identical between the two releases, so I'll go more in depth on the ones that are new this time around. Starting with the double feature head sculpts, my first thought is that I like them but don't love them, if that makes any sense. The scarred eyebrows, the tiny freckles, and the blood splatter are all fantastic. The default sculpt on the left is very intimidating, which does suit Ellie's character, but for me personally, the likeness is not quite there yet. Perhaps the face is a little too round. The range of likeness for the grinning face on the right is even smaller, but when you give it the proper angle and lighting, it looks as good as the game rendering. However, this angry and angrier portraits are the entire emotional range for this release. While anger is undeniably a huge driving force behind her quest in Part 2, Ellie is a heartbroken gal above all else, and that's one facet of her character that we don't get to explore with these head sculpts. What baffles me the most is that CCToys did at some point have a more neutral looking portrait that just didn't make it into the final product, which I think is a missed opportunity because these angry face sculpts don't go too well with some of the accessories that we'll see in a bit. Moving on to the costume, the collar on the outer shirt is a bit unruly. It rises up to the face no matter how much I push it down, but the rest of the shirt looks great, with the diligently frayed sleeves and an adequate layer of weathering. As per tradition, CCToys gave us extra buttons in case the ones on the shirt ever come off. Ellie is rocking a sleeveless shirt underneath, as opposed to the t-shirt that she wears in the game, but that's okay, because this makes it easy to access the interchangeable arms that we'll see in a second. There's this strange bump caused by the belt buckle. It's nice that there's an actual belt, but I did find this bump to be a little distracting, so I just took it out entirely. The jeans sit really well on the figure, and they're tailored just right, so the cuffs sit just above the shoes with some natural wrinkles. And I love this pair of Chuck Taylor All-Star Converse. CCToys nailed the details, with the signature logo, side stripes, and heel patch, and even the pattern on the outsole. And finally we have the jacket, which has pretty good colors, details, and weathering. But what I like most about this is, it helps hunker down the wild collar on the shirt, which gives Ellie a pretty good profile from the neck down. And oh boy, here comes the articulations. All in all, it's actually pretty standard, but there are two things worthy of note. First is that CCToys gave us a pair of interchangeable arms. Which pair is better is really a matter of preference, as they each have their ups and downs. The arms are very easy to swap, and are very sturdy once they're installed. The seamless arm doesn't bend as far in comparison, but the one with the visible joint is lacking in details, mainly in the bloodstains, which are present in all of the hand parts. The tattoos are also noticeably different in size and color. In fact, the one on the seamless arm is actually a decal, which is susceptible to wear and tear. CCToys even gave us 3 extra decals just in case. So I guess what I'm trying to say for the seamless one is that
this is brilliant, but I like
this one with the visible joints, because I know I'm gonna eventually damage the decal, and I don't want to be sitting here scrubbing off the old one, only to apply a new one that's gonna break eventually. The second thing to note is the ankles. As much as I love these shoes, the sculpted high top just killed all the articulations in the ankles. Now this isn't the first time I reviewed a figure with this problem, but I feel it's a little bit more detrimental here because the head sculpt choices we have are intense or more intense. The ankles being stuck at 90 degrees really hampers the dynamic posing options for these sculpts to shine. And a display stand is absolutely required, since the ankles can't bend to balance the figure's weight. Anyway, at least the accessories are fun and plentiful. Once again, starting with Taylor's guitar. It's the same one that came with Joel, meaning that it's got all the same brilliant details, right down to the authenticity sticker. But unlike Joel, this guitar doesn't work too well with Ellie because of the aforementioned angry portraits. It's almost unsettling how intense she looks when playing the guitar. Ellie looks like she's about to wreck a 10-foot tall dinosaur with her guitar, like it's Monster Hunter. The only way I could make this work was by tilting the face all the way down, so the shadow obscured the face a little bit. But it really shouldn't be like this. The angry portraits also makes it difficult to utilize this beautiful journal, which is a shame because this one's my favorite too, with actual pages and journal entries inside. We also have the lucky bracelet that's gifted by Dina, which looks pretty good, but do be careful not to let it scrape off the tattoo decal if you're using the seamless arm. As for the firearms, we have one from every major archetype, starting with the rifle that has a movable bolt action and a sniper scope upgrade. A shotgun that, other than the smaller gun stock, is identical to Joel's in both model and lack of movable parts. Then the semi-automatic, with a detachable makeshift silencer and ammo clip. Little things like this accurate bottle label just makes me unreasonably happy. The revolver is also the same as Joel's, meaning that once again we have the incorrect Colt Python instead of the supposed Taurus Model 66. This leather holster sits a bit low on the leg because the top strap is a little too short to wrap all the way around. It's really not that big a deal, but I do feel that the tiny misses here and there are starting to pile on. Next we have some blade-type crafting materials, and a set of melee and throwing weapons, which are largely the same as Joel's. But this time around, the melee weapons work much better with Ellie. It's interesting that Ellie's Molotov cocktail is clear, which I like a little bit better than Joel's, even though the liquid inside is supposed to be brown. And although this figure doesn't do stealth poses very well, I'm glad they included Ellie's switchblade. And once again there's a set of bandages, with an adhesive for setting up the battle damaged look. This bow and arrow set is pretty great too. The bow is sculpted with the accurate details and grooves, and comes with a stretchy bowstring. Though I'd say the arrow fletchings aren't the most game accurate, but it's not like I'll be sticking them on Ellie's backpack anyway. Speaking of which, the backpack looks really nice, though it doesn't have the double zipper that leaves an opening at the top for fitting arrows. But it does come with enough stuffing to retain the shape, and is complete with a side strap for mounting weapons. You can even fit a flashlight on here using a magnetic clip. It's simple and clean, which I appreciate. This backpack also has the rocket pin that Joel gave to Ellie on her birthday, which brings us to the last accessory. CCToys actually gave us a replica of the rocket pin. This thing looks like it should have came with the collector's edition of the game. It's a nice memento to be sure. For the size comparison, there's really just one person worthy for this category, and that's Joel himself. I hate to sound like a broken record, but having another expression other than the super intense faces from Ellie would definitely benefit the dynamics for displaying these two. So there you have it, the 1/6 scale Ellie figure by CCToys. In my opinion, I feel like this is an honest attempt by CCToys to cover as much as possible, but ended up not doing any one thing particularly too well. The likeness could be a little better, and I really wanted to use the seamless arms, but ended up choosing the other pair just out of concern for maintenance. The angry portraits could work well with dynamic action poses, but they're hindered by the limited ankle articulations. Then in turn, the mild poses are hindered by a lack of a somber or even neutral looking face sculpt. And it's these missed opportunities that sets this figure back from the ultimate knockout. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.